Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Carissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted so desperately to say something, to speak up and advocate for yourself, but you just sat there and watched the situation play out, feeling powerless as you nodded your head in acknowledgement? As the day went on, you would kick yourself for not speaking up or saying something, and when you lay your head down on your pillow, your mind was full of all the things you could have said and the things you wish you had said to set the record straight. It's no secret that women haven't always had the opportunity to be front and center when it comes to advocating for themselves in society. And when I look around, I'm seeing so many spaces where the progress that has been made for women to have a voice is being stripped away in favor of a more paternalistic approach. If this is the experience of women in general, is it any wonder that empath and highly sensitive women struggle when it comes to speaking up for themselves, advocating for themselves, sharing their beliefs, their views, and their ideas? Empathic and highly sensitive women often find themselves hesitating or holding back when it comes to expressing their deepest convictions. This reluctance to speak their beliefs or speak their truth stems from a complex interplay of factors. I see so many of my clients experiencing a disconnect within themselves and those around them when they are not vocalizing their true thoughts and feelings, or they're having feelings of unworthiness skyrocket when they struggle to make themselves seen and heard by the people around them. The negative emotional consequences they feel are usually compounded because they are often doing one or more of the following three things. First, prioritizing the comfort of others over your own needs. Empath and HSP women prioritize harmony and emotional balance in their relationships. They fear that expressing beliefs contrary to those of the people around them may disrupt this harmony, causing conflict or tension. The desire to maintain peace often outweighs the urge to speak their minds. As an example, an HSP woman might refrain from expressing her thoughts during a family gathering to avoid causing discomfort or tension among relatives, even if she strongly disagrees with the opinions being stated. So maybe you're dropping what you need to do in order to be available when someone you care about is in need of a listening ear or supportive shoulder. Or maybe you're always saying yes to invitations or requests, even when you're overwhelmed and stressed, because it's easier than saying no and dealing with the blowback. Or maybe you're finding yourself playing the role of mediator or compromiser for the people around you, and you're feeling torn by choosing sides. So many times we can find ourselves not truly sharing our thoughts and our beliefs because at the end of the day, we crave harmony or a lack of conflict. Second, suppressing their feelings. Past experiences of having our beliefs dismissed or invalidated can leave a lasting impact on empath and HSP women. These painful encounters create a reluctance to expose their vulnerabilities again, leading them to be guarded with their beliefs and hold them very, very closely. For instance, an empathic woman who has been ridiculed for her beliefs in the past, she may choose to keep her thoughts to herself in future interactions, fearing a similar judgment or the similar invalidation by others. We may find ourselves dedicating ourselves to the emotional well-being of others, even when our worlds are falling apart behind the scenes. So we end up not speaking up, voicing our opinions, or glossing over topics that may seem as controversial or likely to lead to disagreement. And it can feel so overwhelming for us to ask for the same level of support that we so easily provide to others, because we don't want to be seen as a burden to them or for being the source of disruption. Third, fearing rejection and judgment. For empath and highly sensitive women, there is a profound fear of rejection that pervades everything they do. These women dread the possibility of being misunderstood, judged, ostracized for their beliefs. Their fear is rooted in a deep desire for acceptance and belonging, and it acts as a powerful deterrent, leading them to keep their thoughts concealed. For instance, an empathic woman might avoid sharing her beliefs in a group discussion to prevent potential disagreement, fearing rejection or criticism from others. And whether we had explosive people in our family or teachers who made spectacles of ourselves, or maybe the other kids in our class who gave an incorrect answer, many of the empath and HSP women often hold a deep-rooted fear of being ostracized or judged negatively. While in isolation, each of these three simple acts are just that, simple. But when they are repeated or in direct conflict to the values and goals or decisions we've made and want to uphold for ourselves, that is where the problems start. No matter which of these things we may find ourselves doing, we often end up feeling remorse, guilt, shame, or we beat ourselves up for doing that thing that we said we would never do again. When we refrain from speaking or sharing our beliefs authentically, it reverberates not only in our words or lack of them, but also in our emotional and energetic bodies, particularly within the throat chakra. You may find yourself feeling a sense of constriction or tightness in the throat area, indicating an imbalance, or it can manifest as a physical symptom such as a lump in your throat, hoarseness, or difficulty swallowing. And this doesn't even touch on all the ways that our personal lives and relationships are impacted. I think it's really important for us to acknowledge that we need to understand what is actually driving us when we choose to not openly express our beliefs or share our truth. To understand what deep-rooted, almost hidden wants you are fulfilling by continuing the pattern of not speaking your truth or using your voice. And something that makes this even more fun is that wants are directly related to results, not actions. This is why we feel the initial relief of repeating the behaviors we want so much to avoid. It's because it gives us something that we subconsciously want, yet afterward we enter the shame and guilt cycle once we reflect on the disconnect from our outward intentions. This is why it's so easy for a person who is seeking the approval of others or desiring to keep the peace will find themselves taking actions that don't seem to match with what they may say they want. Wants that are inspiring you to behave in a contradictory way from your subconscious desired end result can be explored with some deeper introspection, getting into our shadow work here, and learning how to integrate these things into our conscious experience. So while we feel the guilt, shame, and remorse after the fact, we've first and foremost satisfied a need that we may not be consciously aware of that is in direct conflict with another want or need we have. We avoid saying the things that are really important to us. We accept or affirm things that are in direct conflict to what we truly desire, placing us squarely in a space where we are experiencing the pressure of cognitive dissonance, when two or more conflicting or contradicting thoughts are being experienced or held at the same time. In order to deal with the cognitive dissonance, what we end up doing is devaluing our consciously held belief in order to reduce the mental, emotional, or external conflict. We don't necessarily adopt the other thing as true or hold it as our own when we're trying oh so hard to straddle what we think with the actions we know will create a desired, deep-rooted want. Hence, the dissonance. So now that we understand what's going on, what we're experiencing, and why it's driving the bus, what can you do to resolve the cognitive dissonance, clear out your throat chakra so you can express yourself authentically? First, because we're dealing with the throat chakra, you can, as a blanket rule of thumb, use any blue crystal you feel drawn to. All of them will support your throat chakra in rebalancing so that it can return to a state of homeostasis. Do you remember that vocabulary word from the What is Crystal Healing episode? If you haven't listened to the episode, you may want to go back and listen to it. If you've already listened and you remember about homeostasis, you get a gold star. Anyway, I love to use blue kyanite here, and I'll share why there is an advantage to using this particular crystal. But before I explain, I want to backtrack and highlight a few things. When we consider the core reasons why we don't feel like we are in a position to authentically share our ideas and beliefs, there are multiple reasons that may surface. So if your instigating reason is based on uncertainty from your childhood or a childhood trauma, you may have a secondary imbalance in your sacral chakra. If your influencing reason is based on fears of being ostracized or isolated, you may have an imbalance in your heart chakra. When you do your shadow work as a way to identify and integrate these items into your healing practice, you're able to experience a deeper level of healing, touching on more areas within your healing journey. Now, in the process of doing the shadow work, you explore what topics and items are causing you to experience the fear and shame and guilt. It provides a way to observe and then process the emotions of past traumas and hurt so that you can heal those wounds. And when you start to heal the wounds, you then get to create a sense of self-safety so that you know you will be safe even when people around you disagree or misunderstand or react in a perceived negative way. We do that by creating self-safety and comfort around speaking up in the first place, by starting with something little that is seen as inconsequential, but can cause some discomfort for us to voice something in opposition. We create self-safety for establishing, expressing, and holding firm to our boundaries by setting them and having our backs when we need to enforce them. By doing this, you can start to create and build new evidence for yourself that you can successfully express yourself and navigate difficult situations and conversations. You start to build your confidence in yourself so you're willing to repeat speaking up and advocating for yourself again and again. I invite you to imagine with me what your life could be like if you felt safe to talk to people you didn't know, or to those you know hold strong convictions that clash with your own. What could your life be like if you were confident in your ability to share your preferences with the people around you, even if you know they could lead to disagreements and conflict. What could you do if you were able to easily say no to the things you don't want to do and didn't feel any guilt for saying no? What would it mean to you to be able to do these things and you were still able to have meaningful connections with and be respected and heard by the people you want to have in your life? For those of you inside the Crystal Self-Healer members portal, there are some podcast study guides where you can dive into these topics and begin doing the work to heal, so you can start building your sense of self-safety, your belief in yourself, and the confidence to authentically speak your truth. If you're interested in exploring how you can join me inside the members portal, I invite you to book a discovery call to learn more. So now let's pop back and I'll explain why I think blue kyanite is an ideal crystal to work with here. So first off, it's blue. So it's going to automatically be functioning on a level suited to the throat chakra. But secondly, kyanite crystals are great for creating energy bridges, making it helpful when you need to clear blocks in other chakras in addition to your throat chakra. Its soothing vibe is great for creating harmony and balance, and if you've been paying attention, those priorities rank pretty high up for us empath and highly sensitive women. This episode has been brought to you by blue kyanite and cognitive dissonance. May we all uncover our deep-rooted wants in order to alleviate the cognitive dissonance we experience when we find ourselves doing the things we know we rather wouldn't. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.